I'll be starting a new segment about me talking about being adopted and what it's like being adopted and my feelings on adoption. Uh, I was adopted from the time I was a baby, pretty much. I mean, for my adopted family, my grandmother was actually my foster mother, and then like I was like adopted after that by my adopted mother at 6 months. At 6 months, and I mean, so pretty much I never knew anything different until I was told I was adopted at 15. But once I turned 18, things just took like a wild turn, like, and it's just crazy. But I'm gonna start sharing that. So just one feeling I just like to go ahead and break the ice on today, because a lot of times when I talk about things like this, I really don't like to get into things. I really don't like to like just overwhelm myself with talking about personal things like this all at one time and trying to give the whole background on it. But one thing I really want to touch bases on, like, I'm not saying that all adoptions are bad. I think adoption is a good thing as long as the people that are doing it are knowledgeable on what they're doing and they're willing to accept that kid through thick and thin, and like they're just not ready to give up on being a parent just because the kid doesn't try to be perfect or who they want him to be. So anybody that's out there doing that, I really give them a 100% head. I really give them a 100% high five and good job and pat on the back just for doing that, because I mean, just like when you have a kid, you really don't have the choice to I mean, I guess legally you can, but when you have a kid as a parent, I think that morally that you have a responsibility to be with that kid through thick and thin, adoption or not adoption, because pretty much adoption in my eyes is the same thing as having a kid, because once you adopt a kid, I believe you took the same vows as actually bearing a kid or conceiving a kid. So one of the main things that always bothered me about adoption, it's like once I really realized what was going on, I never really felt like I had that 100%, except for my dad. My dad, he gave me that. But besides my dad and my grandmother, but besides my dad and my grandmother, I never, and recently I got some good people in my life. I'm not trying to take no credit for them, but I'm just saying, but besides my dad and my grandmother, I never felt 100% unconditional love, and I'll be talking about my dad more, probably more than likely, and I'll be talking about my grandmother more. But I never really felt like I had 100% conditional love. And they died at not so much. Well, my dad died at a super young age at 10, and my grandmother died when I was about 21, 22. But I mean, after them, I never really felt like I had that 100% conditional love, or no matter how much you mess up what you do, they're still going to be there for you. And like, I don't know. But I'll get to talking about my story more. And hopefully, hopefully the things I'm speaking about and talking about will help others, and it'll help me relieve stress out of my life. So this is me being adopted, part one. Hopefully some people hear this, and just for the fact that I'm starting a segment like this, they can help someone else in their life. Okay. Thank you. Have a nice night.